Hi everyone, welcome to Third Coast Gaming Impressions. It is Sunday, July 25th. It is episode 37. I'm joined by my co-host, Austin Taylor. Hello.
Aha, I have appeared.
He has appeared like a wild Pokemon. He has
Like
appeared.
a
I guess we
much like
could.
a wild Pokemon in the tall grass.
Yes, I guess we're talking Pokemon. Pokemon Unite came out, and I have played too much of this already. And it has been a very good time. I'm trying to pinpoint the day exactly it came out. I think it was it was July. When the fuck did this come out? It must have been like the beginning of the week or something. Cause I'm like on my fourth, like daily that it gives you for like events of the 7 days. But to talk about it, it's just like it's a MOBA that came to Switch that's free, and you don't
A
need
multiplayer battle
a
arena?
multiplayer battle arena. You don't need Nintendo Online to play
Yeah.
this, which
Okay.
is pretty cool because I don't have that right now. I had it for Animal Crossing a little bit, but I didn't keep using it. This was announced like last year. I think it's a Tencent is like the developer on it. It's the Timmy Studio Group.
Yeah, we got this at like E3.
Yeah, and what's your experience with MOBAs? Have you played them? Do you know? Because that'll kind of let me know what kind of I
I
can talk about, like comparing it and stuff.
I have definitely spent less than 4 hours on a MOBA. I remember playing a bit of League of Legends like once, but immediately hopping off of it because like the people I was teamed with were just awful. And then there's a Warhammer game. A I don't I'm loading up Steam right now so I can hop into my library. But
Warhammer MOBA.
there's like a Warhammer MOBA, or at least it wasn't sold as a MOBA. So
Is it Dark Nexus Arena?
no, so it's Dawn of
Oh,
War. It's
okay.
Warhammer 40K Dawn of War 3 specifically. Like Dawn of War was an RTS like series, right? I remember watching my cousin play like Dawn of War 1 or 2 a lot, and when we hung out with him in like Virginia one year. But Dawn of War 3 comes out, and baby, this is a MOBA. Like, they don't say it's a MOBA, but like the way that you are working to build bases on like a map with like a limited amount of them, and like the lanes of each map that I'm looking at, and just like how how you're managing units and such, like that is a MOBA. And as soon as I recognized that it was a MOBA, I stopped playing immediately because I knew
Gotcha.
while I wasn't having fun.
I will say one of the positives of this game, there is no game chat. I have not had people typing at me that I'm picking the wrong class or going to the wrong lane. There's game chat that you can just turn off. There's like voice chat within your like teammates, I guess. But yeah, you can turn that off. The matches, they're only 10 minutes, which like a normal match of League or like Dota can go from like you can go from like 30 minutes to upwards to like an hour or to 90 minutes. But these are
Yeah,
they're 10 minutes. The player count's about the same. It's 6 versus 6, and you have lanes set up the same way, except there's no center. There's a center lane, but there's no what I will call the towers in them. There's only some on the bottom and top lane,
yeah,
and it's fun. I played it. I've been playing it with some of the Nextlander community. I found a group who plays it, a couple, and I had some friends from work who I played with like one person from work. But it's fun. It's free. You start it up. You go through some tutorials. It gives you some currencies, and then you get to start off and pick one character. It's like Charizard, Pikachu, and there's two others who it'll let you grab. But it's got the free to play trappings. Like you have to buy characters at it beyond a certain point. Like it'll give you a couple free ones. Like I think I had five, and then I bought one more with the currency it gives you for doing dailies and quests and stuff, and it has a battle pass. And
yeah.
it's pretty cool. It's this is definitely a MOBA. They have not made a light MOBA. Like there are like I'm thinking about like what items to equip pregame and trying not to feed my enemy team, which is like if you get killed by an enemy player, they will level up a little bit and they'll get stronger than you. So the way that this one is set up a little differently is you have your bottom and top lane, and you have a couple goalposts that when you're defeating the like AI Pokemon that are on the map that they kind of call creeps, where you'll defeat them, you'll get experience, and you'll get some Pokeballs. When you beat a enemy player, you get a couple Pokeballs, and you'll take those and bank them in these hoops, and that will give you points. Each of the basic towers are 80 points, and once you deposit 80 and more, which kind of goes into scoring, which I'll talk about, it will get rid of the tower, and it will push their lane back, so you can kind of go farther into it. Coming from where you start, there's like a speed lane that will increase your movement speed as you go towards the tower, and when it's gotten rid of, that lane will like disappear. So you are banking points, and by the end of like the 10-minute match, whoever has more points wins. Now, the home goal that both teams have, you can bank unlimited points in. It never goes away. So if you're ahead, you can keep banking, or if you're behind and you can get a big pool, you can drop it into their main one. And so far, it's fun. I've liked a lot of the stuff that this is doing, and I think like it being free is really cool. And there are the like the gems that you see a lot in mobile games, where it's like, oh, if you buy this pack, it's the best bundle, and you can use those gems to buy characters.
Yeah.
And like some of the held items, and some of the a lot of like what costumes and stuff. I'm trying to remember cosmetics, which are like for your character and for the different Pokemon that are in the game.
Love Pokemon dress up. I guess a question is like, how does this leverage like the Pokemon IP? Because like I understand that there like are evolutions for certain Pokemon like in the games. I guess my other like, does it also like have like I guess an insane number of characters, right? Like because there are just a lot of Pokemon.
Right now, it's starting at 15 characters, and evolutions will work if you have a character that has an evolutionary tree at all. They will always start at the basic evolution. Like right now, Charmander, Venusaur, and then there's like a Greninja, who I can't remember who the starter of that, and then there's the Cinderace, who's like the rabbit from one of the recent ones from I think Sun and Moon. They will start as their first form, and when you hit level 5, you'll go to the second form and then the third form. Those characters are set up in a cool way to where they are really good later game, because early on they're a little weaker. So if you're playing against them, I will always target the lower evolutions in situations, because they're like an easy knockout. But they come back later as being like really strong and stuff. But so Pikachu doesn't evolve into a Raichu at all. They kept Pikachu as Pikachu,
of course,
which I thought, because it's Pikachu. Nobody wants
Marketing.
to play as Raichu.
Leave Raichu alone. He's a good Pokemon. I like it a lot.
There's a good roster actually. There's Pikachu, there's Snorlax, Venusaur, or I guess Bulbasaur's a starter, Charmander, Mr. Mime. There's I'm trying to remember there's like a Gengar who starts as a Ghastly. There's this dude named Greninja who's a ninja frog. There's that Cinderace, which is like a soccer playing rabbit. There's some newer Pokemon who I haven't really seen a lot. Zaora is one of them, who's like a jungler who is just vicious and will murder anybody when you get over a certain amount, because they're so fast at taking people out.
Yeah.
And the characters are split up into like kind of different classes. There's like attackers who are really fast, usually lower health. There's like an all-rounder who can deal damage and take a couple hits. There's some defenders who are like tankier, who have high health, maybe less damage. They still deal good damage. Like I've been knocked by Snorlaxes, and trying to think what the other one is. Like a Machoke will take you out. And then there's supports who are like, there's like a healing support. Mr. Mime's a support, and there's like a third one who will do stuff. But it's pretty interesting, and when you start getting into your team composition, just be like, oh, when I've been playing with people, I'm like, oh, I need a Snorlax tank to go with me on the bottom to help me, because I'm an attacking Pikachu, and I will attack people really fast, but I need a little defense to kind of put a cushion between me and the enemy. and then we'll send like a Charizard with like a healing Pokemon to the top, because the Charizard will start out really weak, but will be healed a lot by the support, and then turn into a Charizard by the end and kind of help us swing. So there's a lot of like thinking about like MOBA terminology when like I picked this up. I'm not a big MOBA player, but I played League for a couple months and was like, oh, this is interesting. I was never on at the same time as my friends, and it's not as fun solo. But this, I had a totally just fine time playing this solo, which has been really cool. And the matches are 10 minutes, so it's just like, it's such an easy investment for me.
Yeah, that's good. I remember not being particularly impressed with what we saw at E3. I'm glad that that's like built well enough, and it seems to be like a relatively accessible like way into this genre.
Anyway, so it's been in a Japanese beta for a bit, and it was doing that for a while. So they've had like some time to like fine tune some stuff, and yeah, it's been cool. I'm trying to think of some other stuff that doesn't. So I watched like they give you tutorials on how to play the game, but they don't really tutorialize a lot of like what types of situations you run into in a MOBA, where what like feeding another team is, or like why you should be like fighting like the creep characters and trying to level up and stuff. But you can kind of see the leveling curve as I've been on more. I've noticed people playing differently than they used to. Whereas like sometimes I would start a match and 3 people would go to the bottom, which is like a strategy, but it's also that will just happen because there's no communication pregame. There's communication pregame of what lane I'm going to go into, but not a lot of people use it because it's new, and there's like a lot of new players. Whereas like I'll bring up like League and Dota will have a role queue that you'll pick your type of position you're going to play as before you get into the game, because like League specifically has limits on the type of roles you can bring into it, and in this it's whatever people pick, which will be interesting as you go on later.
Yeah, like they just haven't sort of like found how to better implement like roles in this, and they also, will, I guess at some point, because it's Pokemon, add quite a few other characters.
Yeah, I think right now Blastoise and Gardevoir, there's some Leaf Pokemon from, I think it's 2nd or 3rd generation, are coming, and they have the standard play mode, which is 6v6, not ranked, and it gives you a bunch of extra characters to try out that you haven't like purchased, who are like on a weekly rotation. And then it has ranked, which you'll go in, same 10 minutes, same type of match, but if you're winning matches, you'll rank up and go into better, you'll queue with other people who are the same rank. And then it has some quick play options where it'll be like 3v3 and 4v4, and these will be 3-minute matches, and they all have varying types of play, where one of them is a condensed version of the regular MOBA. One of them is like there's only 2 goals, my goal and your goal, and we're just trying to go around and farm and fight each other and make baskets. And then there's like there's another like 4v4 mode with a bunch of speedways open, and there's like ice over it, and there's like a new, there are like specifically named creeps who are like, it'll be like a Zapdos in the middle of like the regular match, and if you defeat it, it'll speed up everyone's running speed, and it'll remove like the defenses on a barrier, because you have like a certain amount of time it takes to dunk like 5 balls, or to dunk like 30 Pokeballs. But when you knock out a Zapdos with your team, that'll be gone, and you can deposit them really quickly. And then there's a couple of other Pokemon that are on the top and bottom who are like strategically placed to have 2 teams fight to win that fight, to defeat that Pokemon to get bonuses like a shield or the ability to knock out a goal really fast. So there's interesting things like that. Is like a League thing where there are bigger creeps who will give you bonuses and stuff, which I think is also implemented well in this.
That's nice.
It's a little pay to win so far, because you are upgrading these items, which this is like a Norman League, but can come off as being, it is pay to win. There is a barrier, like at a certain point in ranked, you have players who have these, there's like 12 different held items, and they're all like held items from Pokemon. There's like an assault vest, or this like special attack glasses or like sunglasses or something, and they all increase certain stats. And at certain levels, you can equip up to 3 of them, and you level them up with some currencies you get. So people who do put some money in there will have an advantage of they're attacking faster or they have a faster movement speed when not in combat and stuff. But that goes into like ranked play and like the way League does. They're called masteries, and you usually buy them from playing a lot. For me personally, they're an incentive to keep playing because I kind of want to collect all this stuff. But I can see at a certain point is, oh, if you just unlocked all of this for everybody to use, you would run out like some people who would potentially like buy stuff in this game. And like you have to buy the characters like in League of Legends, but in Dota you don't buy the characters at all. They're all free at the start and you just buy skins. I think that's a better way to do stuff is just have the
Yeah.
characters free. I don't know. They don't have a lot of characters right now, and it's in the very beginning you have enough to kind of get 1 or 2 characters, but after that you might have to put some money into
Yeah.
buying
I mean,
character and
that's what
stuff.
they want.
But yeah, what tend to happens in these in like League of Legends, I know people will main 3 or 4 characters and not buy more characters after that because they already have people they kind of play as. Maybe when a new character comes out, they'll be in rotation, so you can try them out, see if you want to end up picking them up.
Yeah.
I would be curious. I don't know how this is. The menus are a little laggy on the Switch, but it plays just fine. I'm curious if Austin would play a MOBA one time because
Eh,
it's short and
eh,
pretty
eh.
fun.
We'd have to see. Uh,
Yeah, we'd have to see, but
yeah.
it's interesting.
Dang it. Um, maybe actually. Like I like, like I like Pokemon enough. I think they're all very cute. You let me run around as like a Charmander, I'll probably give you $5, but this is free, so I don't have to. Um, I might, I might. We'll see what's up.
Hello, I cannot hear you anymore.
Oh, can you not hear me? I'm
I can hear
recording.
you right now.
Okay, we'll
Okay,
see what's up. We'll
we'll
see what's
see,
up with it.
we'll see what it says. But anyway, yeah, you play some Baldur's Gate 3. It looks like.
Yeah. Still going into Baldur's Gate 3. Really decided to submit the evil playthrough. Because the next patch will come out, will completely invalidate this save, and I will never have to do that again. Um, so far, so far it's already a bit much. We'll see how long I can stick with it. But the thing that I really do want to sort of discuss, like real quick with Baldur's Gate 3, is like the an update that was made with this fifth patch, being how it handles D&D's backgrounds. When you make a character in D&D, the tabletop RPG, you can assign that character a number of backgrounds, including things like like folk hero and noble, right? And these determine certain aspects of your character at the start of the game, yada yada yada. The thing that is interesting with how they've handled backgrounds in this newest update is like you pick something like folk hero, and when you make a dialogue or like action decision that fits with that background or that they've like sort of have calculated like fits with that background, like you decide to um, actively go through like combat in a way where instead of killing uh, brainwashed people, you kill the person who brainwashed them, and you free them, and that's the good outcome, so you get not just experience for that, but inspiration points, and inspiration points allow you to re-roll certain roles in D&D, like action and dialogue roles. Um, and like that's interesting to me because what that is sort of or sort of like mimicking is mostly stuff like playbooks, right? Like character playbooks that exist in independent tabletop RPGs that you'd see in stuff like I think like Apocalypse World and uh, things like Wander Home, instead of like just mimicking D&D backgrounds. And I find that it's mechanically very interesting, and it's something I hope they sort of expand on because right now you can only have like 4 inspiration points in your pool at any point in time, and you only get like 25 experience points for doing these dialogue and character options. And I hope they within the final game expand on that a bit more. And I think that's kind of all I have to say about Baldur's Gate, like I didn't touch on last week.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, I guess your evil playthrough is going well. It sounds like.
It's evil, you know. I did a thing I've never done before, which is like in the opening segment of the game in the tutorial, you get into a fight combat encounter where you have to, instead of like going into combat, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to run and activate a transponder on the ship that you've been captured on, so that way you can jump dimensions. Instead of immediately running that transponder, I went and got into the combat, which is a really stacked encounter between a mind flayer and demon, a demon lieutenant. Uh, and I've never like fought the demon lieutenant before, but apparently, if you kill the demon lieutenant, what you can do is pick up his flaming like greatsword. So my fighter in the party now has this just insane damage dealing sword, and I'm curious to see how that's going to affect later combat encounters. Um, and what's also interesting is this, if you kill the demon before the Mind Flayer dies, because the Mind Flayer will get wiped if you don't kill the demon quick enough, the Mind Flayer immediately turns on you because you're not necessary anymore and just starts trying to basically eat your party and almost TPK'd me in that tutorial immediately. So
Interesting. Well,
that
you
was
love to
fun.
hear picking up a what I would call a late game weapon early on,
Yeah, yeah.
and
We'll see how that goes because magic items in D&D are really powerful.
yeah, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. How far are you in Dark Souls? What's up? I haven't played
Yeah,
that game since it came out.
yeah. So I also hit like Dark Souls 2 up um, this week. Because I needed something to just sort of zone out to, and I've broken myself to the point where that's for me is Dark Souls now. Yeah, so I've been going through Dark Souls 2. This is like the third time I've tried to really sit with the game. Um, I find I'm having a better time sticking with it now. I've gotten to one of the locations in Dark Souls. The thing about Souls games is you travel to various locations in a sort of decaying kingdom to fight big tough bosses and uh, restore the world or allow it to crumble into dust. And now I'm at this area called the Lost Bastille, which is just is a prison. And I just sort of fought the. I feel like the first boss that is like a real challenge in Dark Souls 2, for me anyway, is the Guardian, the Ruin Guardians, the Ruin Sentinels, who are like these three like 8 foot tall, like heavily armored women with like shields and long spears that just like they just come at you like all at the same time. Like you have to fight like at least two of them at once. Pretty much anytime you go into this encounter, it's a real freaking toughie. Like it kind of sucks a little. But as far as like a representation of how good some of the fights in Dark Souls are, because I think the common criticism of Dark Souls 2 is like a lot of the bosses are just people. Um, but
Yeah,
I found that I'm actually really liking that right now. Like I like fighting recognizable like people and like patterns that are going to be more than just like really big like um, beasts where what you're doing is recognizing patterns and then just attacking their ankles. And in some, excuse me, in some ways, you're still doing that in Dark Souls 2, because that's mostly because like these people are just taller, but like all of these bosses are moving like people in like convincing ways and are like implementing strategies that I find are challenging and interesting and like fun to play against.
yeah. I'm trying to remember how far I actually got in this. I remember I'm pretty sure I beat up Gravelord Nito. This is the one with Gravelord Nito, right? Where you go into
No,
like. No, is that the first game? Am
that's
I
the first
confusing?
game.
Okay. Oh, this is the one with Majula
Yeah,
and that weird boss like underground that has like centipede legs and is really tall and has like a
yeah,
weird yeah.
yeah. Like so, this is the other thing about Dark Souls 2. Like Majula, probably the best like player hub compared to Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls 1 and 3 and like the Hunter's Dream in Bloodborne. I think Majula kind of takes the cake for me in a real way. because what you're doing a lot in Majula is because, as you're going through these, you're collecting souls, which are a currency in this world. And as you like invest in the people in Majula, both monetarily and with time, like that, it doesn't like it does not get like rebuilt to a point where it's like a prospering town, but like there's enough activity and people there that like for the first time in a while have hope, you know, which kind of seems to be like the very like common sort of like the main narrative of Dark Souls 2 is like even if this like cycle of reigniting the fire or allowing the world to like fall into the age of dark doesn't really mean much, or like the actions you take in the cycle don't really mean much. What you're doing in this game throughout, like the actions that you take in Majula, interacting with people like Lucatiel, um, is just about helping these people in this world in a way that I don't really is not so surrounded in its own melancholy in the same way that like Dark Souls 1 and 3 are for me.
Talking about this makes me kind of want to get that. They put out, there's like a Dark Souls remastered for PS4, isn't there? Right? Is it
There's
1 and 2, or is it just
so
1?
I mean there's a Dark Souls trilogy, right, for PS4 and Xbox, which the casing it comes in is pretty cool. But there is a Dark Souls remaster. That's just the first game. So what it actually is like you have Dark Souls remastered on Xbox and PlayStation 4. You have Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, which is just a version of Dark Souls 2, the one I'm currently running, that includes all of the DLC in Dark Souls 2
Oh yeah.
and different enemy placements, right?
Huh.
Because they varied the enemy placement in this version of Dark Souls 2 and also um, what's the thing? Oh, and made it so enemies have finite respawns in areas. Like as you go through an area in Dark Souls 2, if you keep dying, like for instance, for me, it was on the road to get to the Ruin Sentinels boss fight. There's like the shortest way there includes you fighting through like well over 10 like heavily armored dudes wielding like Zweihander greatswords.
Yeah.
And as I kept dying to either like my own hubris or the boss fight that I was trying to get to, um, after I think the 10th attempt, uh, a lot of those guys stopped spawning. And by the time I finally finished or had beaten that boss fight, there were no dudes spawning in my way. So it's kind of like this
Yeah.
anti-farming countermeasure, but it does like help if your main goal is like just trying to do a boss run.
I would definitely be curious to like go back and play 1 and 2 and see what I remember from it, because I played both of those at launch and I beat 1
Yeah.
and probably did a third of 2, because I have like fond memories of like the environments of those games, and just like you get this like weird sense of discovery when you're playing like Dark Souls for the first time too, which
Oh
is really
yeah.
fun because you're like immersed in this atmosphere and you're on edge at all times. So you have no fucking idea what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, like Dark Souls 1, the first time I played Dark Souls 1 was that remaster and like that game's incredible, you know? The way that because the thing about Dark Souls that's always appealed to me is how its narrative is told through its world, right? Even if it is like these relatively simple narratives that in, with a world that kind of really apes the aesthetic of Berserk in a real way, like the care that narratives are told with, for the most part, there's definitely some failings regarding the character of Gwendolyn within that first game, but like how like the world story is told has always been fascinating to me. Like even from things like Ash Lake in the first Dark Souls game, like when you finally find Ash Lake and you find like the dragon in that place, it's it's great. It's fantastic. And I think Dark Souls 2 has a lot of that. Like I think Dark Souls 2 is still a very cool um, game. I'm not entirely sure why people did necessarily enjoy its narrative. It could be perhaps because like it's as long as it is. Um, but I'm looking forward to seeing like more of what you find, more of what I'm going to find in Dark Souls 2.
Yeah, I might look around, see if I can find them on sale on like PS4. Probably on PS4. I like playing Dark Souls with like a Sony controller too. There's just something that just feels like at home with that. But that's cool. I'm glad you're having a good time with that. I'd be curious, are you going to go on and play 3 or Bloodborne after this?
I've played all of From's games. Dark Souls
Yeah.
2 is just kind of the blind spot for me. Like I still might, like I always kind of have a From Software like Souls game in rotation just to be like this is the thing I'm going to just vibe to. Um and because Elden Ring is on the way, it might be like it
Hmm.
might be you finish this and then I just like really dip back into Dark Souls 3 because I know I have a character I'm messing around with stuff in, and I've also got like a new game plus playthrough that is just me getting items like I haven't used before.
Yeah. The grind. The like post game like I just want to collect stuff cuz
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah, I want to collect stuff because it's cool. Like I just now got the outfit used by the character Yuria, who's like just a tall uh
Yeah.
woman in like this like just black armor who uses a katana that has an invisible blade. Um,
That's cool.
it's really dope.
I want to go play Sekiro at some point. That has like when those trailers came out and like people were talking about that, I'm like this kind of vibes with me a little more. I like
Yeah,
how jumpy you are in that and how much like open-ended stuff you can kind of do because
yeah.
you're I guess a ninja.
Sekiro. I didn't like Sekiro. Um, it's like its narrative is really interesting, and it definitely has some of like the best character bits in a FromSoft game. I think the thing that like has made me like Sekiro more than like anything the game does is a a comment that was published in the Waypoint published a spoiler cast about Sekiro, and they read off a user comment um, that was explaining and discussing the way that Sekiro used food, specifically rice, to show like class difference between Sekiro, the player character, and his ward, Lord Haru, right? In the way that Sekiro approaches rice as just a thing to be consumed. And when you bring rice to Haru, he is immediately, I don't even know if his name is Haru. I might be misnaming this character. His first instinct is to ask you to give him the rice so that way he can cook it. And that's just
Hmm.
something that your character as a shinobi who has lived a pretty like who's lived a life like in pretty close to poverty. The only real like contract you had being protect your lord. Um, again, whose name I'm blanking on, and just the way that like they think about food is so vastly different, and I think that's really interesting. But the thing is like when I play Sekiro, I don't like it much at all.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I'm curious. Like I said, with Dark Souls when they go on sale, I might go try and find them and maybe work my. I was thinking like I could go beat 1 and then go play some Sekiro. That's like that could be something I could see myself doing. But that's cool.
Oh, it's
I'm
Kuro.
Kuro.
The kid's name is Kuro, not Haru.
Interesting.
I don't know
Okay,
who
gotcha.
Haru is.
I don't know either, but that was impressions this week. Thanks for joining me, Austin.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
I I hope to come back next week and maybe we'll be like Austin will be like, "Oh man, Pokemon Unite, I'm way into it." Who
Doubt
knows?
it.
Doubt it,
I probably will
but
have played it, but I doubt
yeah,
I'll be like praising a MOBA.
who knows? But till next week, we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, y'all have a good one.
All right, bye.